All right. So, good evening, everyone. I welcome you back to this wonderful platform. This is the mentor Hampir Kliman from HC Learning Academy. Today, we shall be solving this mathematics paper 2, G.C.E, of course, which was written on August 8th of 8th of August, of course, 2025. We shall be able to make this particular lesson easy, and also I'll be able to revise you so that when you write your exam paper, of course, everything is going to be easy. Now, mathematics paper 2 is actually where you are supposed to even get more marks. Henceforth, you are supposed to understand whatever I will be doing and whatsoever I'm going to be solving. Now, let's get started. So, of course, all the formulas are provided, but you don't have to really struggle on a lot of things. So, I'll be able to solve all the questions that never required graphs. Then, in my next session, we shall be able to solve questions with graphs. Okay? Now, we had this particular question which was saying we simplify. So you are given, of course, a power 2, then of course they said b to the power 3 all over by, this was 2c, then this was multiplied by, this is ac power 2 over 2b, and then this is supposed to be plus b to the power 2, then c all over by, this is supposed to be 2a. Of course, sorry, this is not even supposed to be plus, but this is supposed to be division. So the first thing that you would want to do is simply to rewrite everything like this. Then this is going to be multiplication. Then this side, you need to take it into the multiplication form so that you can have 2a all over by b to the power 2, then c. Now from here, everything becomes easy to cancel. So what we are going to do is, we are going to cancel. So this c is going to cancel with this particular c. Then we're going to have just a c on top. Then of course this b is going to cancel with this b there. Then we're going to have a 2. This and this will cancel. Okay, then this 2 and this 2 is going to cancel as well. Then notice that we have a c and this c are going to cancel. We are going to have a to the power 2 multiplied by a multiplied by this a, and then we are going to have a to the power 2 over 2 is going to multiply with a, okay, over 1, okay, a over 1. Then this is going to also multiply a over 1. So when you multiply everything, you are going to get a to the power 4 all over by 2. And then this becomes your answer for this particular question. So basically, that is just how you simplify that particular question. It's actually very simple. We come to this particular question on geometric progression. The question was saying, for the geometric progression 60, 30, 15, find the 60th term. Okay, so whenever you are finding geometric progression, the first thing that you are supposed to observe is simply the flow of the numbers that have been given. In this case, this one is your first term. So our first term is equal to 60. Then we need to find the common difference. So our common difference, okay, your common difference also represented by some letter r, is going to equal to t2 over t1. So in this case, What is our T2? Our T2 is actually 30 over T1 is actually 60. So when you cancel this side and this side, your common difference is going to equal to this is 1, then this is 2. So it's going to equal to 1 over 2, which can also be written as 0.5. Okay, so this is your common difference. Now, the question was saying we find the 60th term. So the formula to find any term that you would want, the formula to find any term that you would want is simply Tn is equal to, then of course you're going to have your A, R to the power n minus 1. This particular formula is going to give you any term that you want. Now, what we want is the 60th term, which is going to equal to what is the first term? Of course, the first term is 60. Then, of course, our common difference was 0.5. Then this is going to be 6 minus 1. This is going to be the 60th term equal to, we have a 60 in here, and then this is going to be 0.5 to the power 5. Okay, then this is going to be T6 is equal to, then from there you can open the brackets. When you open the brackets, you are going to have 0.5, of course, to the power 5. Okay, to the power 5. Let's see what we are going to get if we power everything to 5. So notice that whenever we solve everything at once, what we are getting is 1.875 as our final answer. So basically, this is just how you solve the second question. We go to the third question. The third question is simply, sorry, this is supposed to be the first question, which is this one. The second question was asking us to find the geometric mean of 15 and 3.75. Okay, now how do you find geometric mean? Geometric mean, the geometric mean, okay, let me just say the geometric mean of two numbers, the geometric mean of two numbers x, y is given by the square root of those numbers multiplying them. Okay, so this is how you find the geometric mean of two numbers. So of course gm is going to equal to, so we are going to get the square root of x, and then we also get the square root of y. They should be multiplying inside. Of course our gm is going to equal to, what do we have? So what we have is simply 15 multiplied by 3.75. Okay, then of course our geometric mean is going to equal to, we can just multiply the two, 15 multiplied by 3.75, and then we find the square root. Now when we find the square root of 15 times 3.75, what we are getting is simply 7.5. So this is the answer for the second question. This is just how you find your geometric mean. All you have to do is to multiply the numbers that you have been given, then find their square root. We come to the third question. Now the third question was saying we find the sum to infinity. Okay, sum to infinity. So sum to infinity of a geometric progression is actually given by the formula a over, is supposed to be 1 minus the common difference. So in this case, the first term was actually 60 over, then this is going to be 1 minus, what is our common difference? The common difference, HC, was actually 0.5. So you get your calculator, you say 1 minus 0.5. You will still be able to get 0.5. So 60 over 0.5 is the same as 60 multiplied by 2. Of course, we are going to get a 120. and then you get your final answer. Okay, so when this question comes, make sure that you get everything. We proceed. Now, as we proceed, we have this particular question which I expect you to get everything, all the 3 marks. They're saying express what we are given was actually 5 over x minus 1. Then they say minus 2 over x minus 2. So from here, the first thing that you're going to do is to find the common denominator. The common denominator is going to equal to x minus 1 and then x minus 2. I've just repeated what was in the denominator. Then I can cross multiply. Then this is going to be 5, then x minus 2 minus, okay, then 2, then x minus 1. From there, 5 multiplied by x is going to equal to 5x. 5 multiplied by negative 2 is going to equal to negative 10. Then minus 2 multiplied by x, it's going to be minus 2x. Minus 2 multiplied by minus 1, we are going to get positive 2. Of course, I'll repeat the same thing. I'm going to have x minus 1, and then I'm going to get x minus 2. I can collect the like terms, so I'm going to have 5x minus 2x minus 10 plus 2. Then, of course, I can put everything down like that. Then I'm going to get 3x, okay, 3x, and then this is going to be minus 8 all over by x minus 1, then x minus 2. And then this is going to be my answer. So this is just how you solve this particular question without struggle. Okay, let's get to the next question. We see what is there. Okay, find the equation of a tangent to the curve y is equal to, okay, so this is what we had. They said y is equal to, this is x to the power 3, and then minus 5 x to the power 2 plus 8, and then this is x minus 4, and then we're told at some point where x is equal to 1. So of course the first thing that you would want to do is simply to find your y value, because you've already been given your x value. Now how do you find your y value? It's actually very simple. The first thing you are supposed to do is simply to insert this one into the equation. So I'll put my 1 into the equation. I'll still do the same thing here and do the same thing here, and then I see what I'm going to get. So if I punch this on the calculator, let's see what we are going to get. Notice that I'm still getting a 0 here, meaning my equation is going to originate from the points 1, 0. Now, having done this, we can now find the gradient. To find the gradient, we use differentiation. So we're going to say dy over dx is equal to, whenever you're doing differentiation, you get the power and then you take it in front and multiply it with the coefficient of that letter. So I'm going to get that 3 and then say multiplied by x, then the same power minus 1. Okay, then go to the next. I'll get this 2, the power 2, multiply it with the coefficient, so it's going to be 2 multiplied by 5, then x, then the same power 2 minus 1, plus. Now, whenever you are doing this, whenever you have a number which only has x. If x is to the power 1, just remove the x and then remain with a constant. Then whatever is a constant which never had any x or anything, it becomes 0. Okay? It becomes 0. So from there, we can say our gradient is going to equal to 3x to the power 2 minus, this is going to be 10x. 2 minus 1 is simply 1. And of course, this is going to be plus 8. When you reach here, you can actually put in your 1. So we are going to get our 1 and insert it into this particular equation. And then we see what we are going to get. So when we insert in our 1, we are going to have 3, open bracket, 1 to the power 2, minus 10, and then 1, and then plus 8. Notice that what we are simply getting as our gradient is actually 1. Now, if this is our 1, then we can have our equation created, because we know that y is equal to, y minus y1 is equal to the gradient, then x minus x1. So what was our y? Our y was actually 0. So we're going to say y minus 0 is equal to the gradient, which is 1, then x minus, this is going to be 1. So we're going to have y is equal to 1, then of course this is going to be, okay, let me just do everything at once. Okay, so this is going to be x minus 1. Okay, x minus 1. Okay, having done this, our equation is now going to be, okay, so we can leave it like this. Okay, this then becomes our equation. Okay, or if you want, you can just write it as y minus x is equal to 1. Okay, but I prefer you write it like that. You can leave it like that. It's okay. So this is just how you solve this particular question. Okay, you ensure that you find your y value, then find the gradient using calculus dy dx. Then when you differentiate, whatsoever you are going to find, you use this particular formula. Okay, and then you find your equation. We go to the next question, where we have this question under matrices. This question was saying, given that P, so P was actually this particular matrix. It's a 4, then 1, then of course a 2, a negative 2, and then we have a 1 here. Then they're saying we find the determinant of P. So to find the determinant, you have to cross multiply. Then of course the determinant is going to equal to, so this 4 is multiplying that 1 there, minus the negative 2 is multiplying 1. Determinant is equal to, what we have here is a 4 minus, okay, minus, then this is going to equal to negative 2. So our determinant is equal to 4, negative multiplied by negative is a positive, then 2. Henceforth, our determinant is going to equal to 6. Okay, this is your determinant. The next question was saying, we find the inverse of a matrix P. The inverse of matrix P. Now, to find the inverse of matrix P, we say P inverse is equal to 1 over the determinant. Then, of course, you have to get your matrix. So this the matrix was 4, 1, negative 2, and then 1. Now, when you insert in your determinant, you're going to say P inverse is going to equal to 1 over, you insert in the determinant. Now, this is what is going to happen. Major diagonal, which is this 4 and 1, are going to exchange positions. The 1 is going to come here, the 4 is going to come here. Then the minor diagonal, which is this one, you expect them to change the signs. So because this one was a positive, it was a negative, it's going to become a positive. So we're going to have positive 2. And then because this one was a positive, it's going to become a negative. Okay? So you just do the same thing I have done, and then you find your answer. Okay? You find your answer. So if you want, you don't have to include your positive, you just have to show that that one has changed the sign. Basically, this is just how you answer this particular question. It's actually very simple. Now we go to another part, another section, of course, where we will have to solve this particular question. Now, this question is actually B, and it was under probability. They are saying a box contains 6 white circuit breakers and 4 black circuit breakers, all identical in appearance. A circuit breaker is selected at random from the box and not replaced. A second circuit breaker is then selected. Find the probability that both circuit breakers selected are white. So the first thing that you are supposed to do is simply to construct what we call a tree diagram. Okay? Now, to find a tree diagram, the first thing that we are going to do, we are going to construct something which is going to look like this. So, this one is going to be for white circuit breaker. So this is going to be white circuit breaker. Then of course this one is going to be black circuit breaker. Okay? Or if you want, you can just say white, and then this one can say black. Okay? Then from there, you construct your probabilities. Okay, so maybe it's a bit on top. So let me just take it down a bit. Okay, so this is going to be white breaker. This is going to be black breaker. And of course, from here, we're going to have our first probability. Then from here also, we're going to have our first probability. So this is still going to be white breaker. This is going to be black breaker. White breaker, black breaker. Now, they are saying all identical in appearance. Then a circuit breaker is selected at random from the box and not replaced. So we are going to assume what was taken from the box was a white breaker. So, white breaker, in the beginning, they are saying we had 6 white circuit breakers. So, white breaker at first was actually 6/10. And then this side, we have been told that it was 4 black circuits. So this is going to be 4/10. Then we are going to assume that what was taken was a white breaker. So this is going to be 5/9. Then of course, this guy is just going to maintain like this, but over 9. We also assume that what was taken was actually a black breaker, meaning this guy is not going to change. What is going to change is the denominator, but this guy is eventually going to be 3/9. Now we can find our answers. The first question was actually saying we find the probability that both circuit breakers selected are white. Now the word both under probability simply means multiplication. So P white is going to equal to, so we are going to pick white. So this is going to be white. Okay. So what was white from the original? White from the original was 6/10. What was white from the extended tree? It was actually 5. Okay, it was actually 5/9. Then if you multiply this, it's going to give you 30/90, which you can cancel this side. You're going to get 1/3. Okay, this gives you your answer. Then they're saying we find the probability. Okay, let me see if I have some more space. Okay, they're saying we find the probability that both circuit breakers selected are of different colors. So let me just write the answer first of all for this one. Or you can say P both white is equal to 1/3. Let me just use this board. So P of different color. So different color is actually going to be something like this. So you are going to pick white, black, plus, or it's going to be black, white. What is white? White from the original was actually 6/10. Then it was multiplying black, which is going to be 4/9. Okay, plus black from the original was actually 4/10. Then it was multiplying white, which is simply 6/9. From there, you're going to get something like 24/90 plus 24/90. Of course, from here, our common denominator is simply a 90. Then we're going to have 24 plus 24. Now, 24 plus 24 is actually 48/90, which if we reduce this one, we are simply going to get 8/15. Let me try to reduce this on the calculator. We see 48/90. So this is going to be 8/15. And this is how you answer questions under probability. They're actually very, very simple. Okay, let's proceed. We see what we have. We have a quadratic equation. A quadratic equation is something I expect that you get everything. They're saying we solve the equation. Okay, so our equation is actually y. Okay, let me just do this. They are saying this is going to be 2x to the power 2 minus 7. Of course, this is y minus 7. And then this is supposed to be like a minus 10. Okay, so let me just a minute. I can't see properly, so let me try to check it from a past paper. And of course, we wrote it correctly. So now, I want you to figure out something. The original equation, where you write a quadratic equation, is supposed to be y is equal to ax to the power 2 plus bx plus c. So you expect that for this particular question, all you have to do is to arrange everything in order. So y is going to equal to This is supposed to be 2x to the power 2. The next thing that should follow is a 10x and then minus 7. From there, you can pick your A, in this case is 2. B, in this case is negative 10. And C, in this case is negative 7. From there, we know that x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b power 2 minus 4ac all over by 2a. X is equal to, now notice that b has a negative 10, and so this negative and that negative are going to cancel, so you're just going to write 10 plus or minus the root of, what is b? B is simply negative 10. What is a? A is simply 2. Okay, then what is c? C is negative 7 all over by 2, then a was 2. From there, we're going to have our 10 plus or minus. Now this is going to be positive 100. Then of course, whenever you reach from this point, make sure you punch everything together. Okay, so this negative here, you will punch it on the calculator, minus 4, open bracket, 2, then minus 7. Punch everything together to avoid confusion. So you're going to get positive 56. So you're going to get 56 all over by, this is supposed to be 4. Then of course we can say 100 plus 56 is 156. Then you find the square root. Then of course this is going to be x is equal to 10 plus or minus. Then this is going to be 12.4899. Okay, 9 then 6 all over by 4. X is going to equal to, so whenever you reach here, you can now add. So we can start with 10 plus 12.489996. We are getting 22.48999. You divide by 4, you are going to get a 5.62. They were saying to do decimal places. So this is your answer, or you can subtract 10 minus 489996 divide by 4, and then you're going to get minus 0.622 like this. Let me see how many decimal places we have. This is more, so we can rub our 2 so that we just have a 2 here, and then this also becomes our answer. Okay, so basically this is just how you solve quadratic equations. Let's see, we have this interesting question, which was simply saying, at Kalumilima farming community, 33 farmers planted sorghum, 25 planted ground nuts, 38 planted maize, 15 planted both sorghum and groundnuts, 14 planted both sorghum and maize, 13 planted both groundnuts and maize, and 6 farmers planted all the 3 types of crops. Illustrate this on the Venn diagram. Now, I'm going to make this simple so that whenever you find a question similar, you'll be able to solve it. This is the Venn diagram, and this is how it's going to look. So I'm going to draw a Venn diagram. Now, they are saying at Kamulima farming community, 33 farmers planted sorghum. So whenever you mention something, you draw the set. So you can say this is for sorghum. 25 planted groundnuts. So this is going to be for groundnuts. I'm going to show you where a lot of people make mistakes. 38 planted maize. So now this is for maize. Now this is what people make mistakes. They want to, and make sure of course you indicate your E, they want to start with what has been mentioned first, but whenever you're solving such questions, the tricky part is just start with everyone who planted all of the 3 crops. So here they were saying 6 farmers planted all the 3 types of crops. That is the one you should start with. So you're going to put your 6 with a dot. Then you start with those that planted 2 crops only. So 15 planted both sorghum and groundnuts. So sorghum and groundnuts, it's here, right? But how many people planted? There were 15. So you are going to say 15 minus the 6, right? 15 minus the 6, you are going to get 9. And that is the 9 you are going to put here. Then they're saying 14 planted both sorghum and maize. Sorghum and maize. How many? 14. So I'm going to say the same thing, same concept. 14 minus 6. You're going to get 8. So you put your 8 here. Then they are saying 13 planted both groundnuts and maize. You do the same thing, same concept, HC. All you have to do is simply 13 minus 6, and then you put your 7 there. Beautiful. When you put your 7, now you start with those that planted everything. So don't start with the first information. Read everything, then start filling in. Now they are saying 33 farmers planted sorghum, right? So you are going to get your 9 plus your 6 plus your 8. Then it's going to give you 23. So you add everything that is in sorghum. You add your 9. So you're going to add your 9 plus your 6 plus your 8, which is going to give you like 23. This 23 subtracted from the 33 farmers. So you say 33 minus 23. And then, so you're going to get a 10. And then this is the 10 that you're going to put here. The same thing also. So this is for sorghum. The same thing also for groundnuts. We are going to add 9 plus 6 plus 7. So 9 plus 6 plus 7 is going to equal to 22. Then check how many planted sorghum. They are saying 25 planted. How many people planted groundnuts? 25 planted groundnuts. So you say this 22 minus 25, so should give you 3. So 3 planted the groundnuts only. Then we go to maize. We will do the same thing. This time around we are adding these numbers. Okay? 8, 6, and 7. Sorry. Sorry. You don't want to change anything. So let me see. It's supposed to be okay, yeah, like that. From there, so for maize, we're adding 8 plus 6 plus 7. and then we are going to get, let's add, so 8 plus 6 plus 7, 21. So 21 minus 38. Okay, 21 minus 38, 17. So you get your 17. You are going to put it there. Okay, from there we can now answer questions that are coming down there. This is just how you fill in your Venn diagram. Don't rush, do not be in a hurry, just make sure that you are following the correct procedures. The are very simple actually. They're very simple. The first question was saying, the second question was saying, how many farmers were in this community altogether? Just add everything. So we are going to add everything. So it's going to be 10 plus 9 plus 3 plus 6 plus 8 plus 7 plus 17. Then let's see what we're getting. So 10 plus 9 plus 3 plus 6 plus 8 plus 7 plus 17 is G.C.E, and that is how we're getting a G.C.E here. Second one is saying planted one type of crop only. So one type of crop only, you'll be getting this 10, 3 and 17. So 10 plus 3 plus 17, 10 plus 3 plus 17, this is going to be 30. Planted two different types of crops. Two different types of crops were these 9, 8 and 7. So 9, 8 and 7. 9 plus 8 plus 7. 9 plus 8 plus 7. Okay, so when you add all these, they are giving you 24. And you find your answers. So when you miss or you mess up on the Venn diagram, you mess up on everything. And so I don't encourage you to be in a hurry. Just make sure that you are reluctant. Just solve everything at once. So this question, I'll actually solve it because I'll need to show you in a video lesson on how we are going to be doing our construction. It's actually very simple. Okay, so we shall be doing calculations first, and then we solve everything. Vectors. Now look at this. The question is actually saying in the diagram, AD is 3A. So this is AD. AB is equal to 2B. And then they are saying that AB and BC is, so this is supposed to be our 1. Then of course this is supposed to be our 2. Okay? And then of course BX is 1 of 4 of BD. So this is our 1, and eventually this is going to be our 3. Okay? Same here. Sorry, it's supposed to be 1 also. This is 1 of BD. Okay, so they're saying express in terms of A and or B, BD. Okay, of course, E is the midpoint of CD, very relevant information. So for this one, I'll just solve for you the first one and the second one. The third one, I'll give you a number on WhatsApp, which you are supposed to give me the answers. So vectors are actually very simple and straightforward. All you have to do is simply to know the concepts. Let's calculate BD. So BD vector, we are coming from B we are going to D. Okay. Like that. So this is going to equal to minus 2b. Okay. So this is going to be minus 2b, of course, minus 2b vector. Why am I saying minus? Because we are going against the direction. And of course, this is going to be plus 3a vector. So BD is going to equal to 3a vector minus 2b vector. And this becomes our answer. We come to dx. dx is actually this line here. This is dx, and then this is 1. So if you want to find dx is you just get these 3, and then the entire line, it's dx is actually 3 of db. So the entire line was actually 4. Now, because we are moving from A, going to B, and then going to D, like that, or we are supposed to move from A going to B to C, then to D. But since we are moving from D going to B, we are moving against direction. Okay? So this is going to be our negative. Negative of what? Negative of BD. Because the entire line is BD. The entire line is BD. But this one is just 3, this one is 1. Okay? This distance is 3, this one is 1. When you add them, they're supposed to give you 4 as a total. So this is going to be negative 3 over 4, open bracket, BD. BD was already calculated to be 3a vector minus 2b vector. So this is going to be like negative 9a over 4 minus, then this is going to be like positive 6b vector over 4. It's going to be minus 9a vector over 4 plus 2 in here is actually 3 p vector over 2 in here is actually 2. And then you get your answer for the first 2. So I want you to do this one and also this one. So this one is going to be your task. You can send this lesson to +26 0777 66 40 46. This is my WhatsApp number. And of course, if you want to have more revisions for incoming paper, make sure you inbox me on that particular number, and then I'll be able to respond to you. We solve everything together. Okay, so we have a flowchart here, and then they want you to write a corresponding pseudo code. So I want you to notice what is happening. We are having start, then enter RHR, then they say is R. So in other words, you're just coming from a flowchart, then you enter into a pseudocode. Now this is how it's going to start. Because, okay, let me write it here. We have enough space, but we can do it from here. So the first thing to do is write your start. Okay, write your start. When you write your start, as I have written, The second thing is enter. You don't write enter whenever you write in a pseudocode. Instead, you write the word input. So enter will be replaced with the input. So you slide a bit, you say input R, comma H, comma R. From there, they are saying is R greater than capital letter R. So is in a pseudocode is going to be changed to if. So you are going to say if R is greater than R, then you add then. Then, okay. What was the result? The result was print error. So this time around, instead of saying print, you say output. So then output error, R is not valid. Okay. When you do that, there's a formula. Before you write this formula, make sure you put else. Okay. Else. So this else is going to be in the same line as your input. Else, then you write your formula. Okay. So else, then you write your formula. So this is going to be V is equal to, you open the bracket. So this is going to be pi multiplied by H and then this is going to be 3, sorry, because we don't have enough space, so I'll just write it here. Okay, so to the power 2 plus R to the power 2 plus R. From there, what else? They are saying print. What is print? I said print is output. Okay. I said print is the output. So you write it in the same line. Output V. Then you end if. Okay. End if. So end if, then you stop. So when you write it like this, the examiner has no choice but to mark you, because what you have written is very much correct. So this is just how you transform a flowchart into a pseudocode. I would also want you to practice how to change a pseudocode into a flowchart. It's actually very important that you do that. So we had so much space. Unfortunately, everything was top. So this is graphing. So graphing, I'm going to do it in my next session. Today we're just doing the solving part, then we go to graphs. So this question was under trigonometry. How do you solve such a question where they say solve the equation? The equation is actually 10 tan theta is equal to 50. So you say over 10 over 10. So you're going to have tan theta is equal to, you cancel, you're going to have 5. Theta is equal to tan inverse of 5. Theta is going to equal to, so you get your calculator, you say shift, then tan, then you put your 5. You're going to get your 78.7 degrees. The condition was it should be 0 less than or equal to let me see. This is supposed to be 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 90. So because 78.7 is within the 90 range, it remains an answer. We've been asked to simplify 9a minus c rather. Then we have 81a power 2 minus c to the power 2. So of course this one we just use the difference of two squares. If you use difference of two squares, you're going to have 9a minus c, then 9a plus c. This and this will go. You're going to have 1 over 9a plus c. Okay, so this one was actually very simple. And then you get everything. We have yet another interesting question under calculus integration. So this question was saying evaluate. Whenever they say evaluate, it implies you are finding a value of something. So you have 4 on the upper limit, then 1, then you have 5 plus 4x minus x to the power 2 dx. So of course this 5, which has a constant, it's just the opposite of differentiation. So the 5 of course is going to have the x, so whenever you integrate it, it's going to have x plus this 4 here is going to have x, then 1 plus 1. Whatever you do on top, you also do down there. 1 plus 1 minus x, then to the power 2 plus 1. Whatever you do up there, also the same thing. So we are going to have 5 plus 4x to the power 2 over 2 minus this is going to be x to the power 3 over 3. Notice that this is going to be 5 plus this is going to be 2x to the power 2 minus x to the power 3 over 3. Now, because we have the upper limit and the lower limit, we are going to subtract the 2. So you're going to get this guy here and then subtract it from the same. So this is going to be our upper limit. This one is going to represent our lower limit. So our upper limit, we're going to have 5 plus 2. Then you're going to put a 4 here, which is here. Okay. So you put your 4 where there is x. Then you find your value. So let's see what are we getting when we do our thing. So notice that we are going to get 5 plus this is like 16. 16 multiplied by 2, it's 32 minus, then this is going to be 4 to the power 3 divided by 3. Okay, so this is like 21.3. Okay, then we can do our thing. So it's going to be 5 plus 32 minus 21.3. So we're going to get something like 15.7 minus. Let's do the same thing this side. Okay, let me see, what have we done? Okay, so there's a mistake somewhere. Let me just rub everything. Okay, so here's why I made a mistake. I was supposed to put x there. Okay, I'm sure you could have seen the mistake already. So the same thing also, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to have our 5x plus 4x to the 2. Of course, it was cancelling, so we're going to have a a 2 there, minus x to the 3 over 3. And of course, this is going to be our upper limit, and then this one is going to be our lower limit. So now we can do our replacements. Inside, this is going to be 5. And we put a 4 here, then a 4 here, then of course a 4 here. So this one is a 20. This one is 32. This was given as, let me punch it. Divide by 3. This was given as 21.3. So this is going to be 20 plus 32 minus 21.3. So this is going to be like 30.7. Let's do the same thing also this side. So this is going to be 5. We are putting a 1 here. So this is going to be 5 plus 2 minus 1 divided by 3. So let's do our calculations. We are 5 plus 2 minus 0.033. So we're getting something like 6.67. So 30.7 minus 6.67. We are getting something like 24.03. Okay, so this is basically just how you find this particular question. It's actually very simple. Don't even have to waste so much time on this particular question. Okay, we come to earth geometry. In the diagram, the points T and R lie on the equator while P and Q are on the latitude, 40 degrees. And then we've been given what to use there. Then they say find the difference in longitude between points T and R. So T is basically here, R is basically here. So the difference in longitude now look at this. This is where R is lying. It is 50 degrees of east. Then this one is 130 degrees of west. So because they're in the opposite directions, just add everything that you have. (130 plus 50) is going to give you 180 degrees, and then you get your difference in longitude. This one is saying we find the distance PQ along latitude 4 degrees in kilometers. Okay, so there's a formula you need to know. Your distance. Okay, let me just use this. Distance is equal to theta over 3 G.C.E multiplied by 2 pi r cosine theta. So in this case, we need to ask ourselves, what exactly were we given as a value of our theta? Okay, so let's go back. They're saying we are finding the distance between the distance PQ. Where is PQ? This distance. Now, we need to find our theta, right? Because the distance PQ was lying in the same longitudes as TR. So they will still have a difference in longitude of 180. And you'll be using your 180 here. So you're going to put your 180 here over 3 G.C.E You multiply it by 2, then 3.172. Then your radius was given to be 6370 cosine. Then they were saying in the latitude of 40 degrees. So let's try to punch everything at once. So it's going to be 18, then 2, open bracket, 3.142, 6370 cosine 40. Whatever you're going to get, divide by 36. And then you're going to get something like 2.02 kilometers. And then you find your answer. Okay, this one is saying calculate the circumference of the circle of latitude 40 degrees. So circumference of a circle is given by 2 pi r cosine theta. The same thing that you had at the end. So you are going to get your 2, you put your 1.42, then your radius was 6370. Of course, you have your cosine, then 40 degrees. Let me just punch everything on the calculator. Then we see what we are going to have. This is cosine 40. And then you are going to get your answer of 366, 4.05. Okay, so this is supposed to be in kilometers. And then you get your answer. Okay, so this is going to be our last question for the calculations only. The rest are graph papers, which we will need to do in the next session. In the following diagram, the dimensions of the top and bottom rectangles of a frustrum of a right pyramid are 2 centimeters by 6 centimeters and 5 centimeters by 15 centimeters, respectively. Given that the height of a frustrum is 10 centimeters, calculate its volume. So the first thing that you need to do, whenever you are calculating the volume of a frustrum, the formula that you are going to use is this one. Volume of a frustrum is given by, so it's going to be 1/3 multiplied by the height, open bracket, area 1 plus area 2 plus the square root of area 1 multiplied by area 2. Now, this is what you're going to do. This that you have on top here, okay, you are going to find its area. So this becomes area 1. And then it's calculated by 6 multiplied by 2, which is going to give you 12 centimeter cube squared. Then you come here, you have this rectangle. You also find its area, which is going to be area 2. This is area 1. So you can say area 2 is going to equal to 5 multiplied by 15, which is going to give you, let me see, 5 multiplied by 15, which is going to give you 75 centimeters squared. Now we can venture into our formula. V is equal to 1/3. Our height is 10. Our area 1 was 12 centimeters, and then 75. Then we're going to have 12 multiplied by 75. So this is going to be a 10/3. Okay, so we are going to punch everything. So we're going to start with 12 multiplied by 75. Then we find the square root, which is going to be 30. So we're going to have 12 plus 75 plus 30. So 30 plus 75 plus 12 is giving us 170. Multiplied by 10, divided by 3. And then our volume is going to equal to 390 centimeter cubed. And this is just how you solve this particular question. In our next session, we shall be able to graph everything and bring out the special concepts. If you found this video interesting and helpful, don't forget to subscribe and also share to others. All the best in your exam paper. The mentor, Hampel Kliman, signing out. And of course, if you want revisions, you want to register for personal lessons, you inbox me on this WhatsApp number, +26 0777 66 40 46, and I'll be able to respond to you. Thank you so much.